Hare Krishna. I've no idea how many words Srila Prabhupada wrote, but no doubt into the millions. But here are just 26 of them, and like all the others, so powerful, and cut through so much fluff of modern day communication. So let me read. The world's movements for freedom through political, economic, social, and cultural propaganda can do no benefit to anyone, for living beings are controlled by superior power. Wow, how do we understand that? I mean, there are so many movements today in the world that are seen as, very positive, very helpful, very important. Movements such as, for instance, the environmental movement, seen that way. Yet here Prabhupada is saying they can be of no use to anyone, but of course then he does qualify it by saying because we're controlled by a superior power. So ultimately we would have to be aligned with that power for that success to take place. It's interesting, when I first came in contact with the Hare Krishna movement and with people who were engaged in that path, on that spiritual journey, I can remember, and this goes back now sort of the best part of 40 years, the very first day actually that I met with them and stayed in the ashram. And the next morning I was brushing my teeth, as we all do, as we all should do, brushing my teeth. And as was something I guess I'd done for the previous couple of decades of my life, leaving the tap running. And immediately the person who was in the room with me said, or didn't say, turned off the tap and then said, do not waste Krishna or the superior power's energy. So that, as I say, was the best part of 4 decades ago, but is a key environmental principle. Then I also remember, and I'm a little bit embarrassed to admit this, but I remember traveling with somebody, and I had eaten an apple, and then I rolled down the window of the car and threw the apple butt or the apple core out the window. And they stopped the car and insisted that I get out and pick that up, put it in a bag, and then put it in a bin at some point. And the message that they then gave to me or said to me was that that's disrespectful, impersonal and disrespectful to the creator of nature, that we would just litter in that way, even though the apple butt, I must stress in my defense, was an organic material, so it would actually in that sense biodegrade. But still, the principle of littering, being disrespectful and impersonal to the creator like that. So they were key messages and in the mood of aligning with that superior power. And of course, arguably the greatest one of all, and the one that the environmental movements very much stress. But again, on starting a spiritual journey, the key thing was the principle of compassion. And compassion means that we cannot just inflict suffering on other living beings. So the obvious one is what we eat. And if we're eating meat and meat products like that, we are inflicting suffering on those sentient beings. So that was the first thing that I stopped doing all those years ago. And again now, as I say, that's a key principle of the environmental movement and how much global warming is affected by the meat industry, etc., etc. So taking that into consideration, not only this wonderful statement from Srila Prabhupada about it'll all be useless unless we acknowledge and are aligned, if you like, with the superior power. So that's key. But as well as being aligned, if we had already or always remained aligned, we would arguably not be in the situation and the crisis that we currently face with the environment and so many other issues on the planet. So yeah, if we haven't already aligned, let's align, and let's really try to endeavor not to disalign anytime in the future. And then all these wonderful causes that people are engaged in around the world will be successful. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.